Hello and welcome to the seventh edition of ETCFO Leadership Summit. We're live from Mumbai and today we have with us Mr. Aakarshan Mookim, CFO Macmillan Group. Welcome to the event, Mr. Mookim. My first question, how has your experience been so far at the event and what do you think about the theme of this event, scaling India into global shifts?
I think it's an amazing event. That's number one because it encompasses a varied theme. So whether you talk of manufacturing, industrial services, and someone like me who comes from a very philanthropic, noble education industry. So far so good. We'll of course see more after lunch.
All right. Thank you so much. I'll move on to my next question and talk about the education industry. Uh, when pandemic hit us, we see this industry completely flip to something which we not even thought about. Even today, we when we look at the world, it's sort of going towards more digitization. Uh, so uh, while coming from a publishing industry, how do you sort of navigate these shifts? What are your priorities? How are you going about it?
So of course the pandemic uh, saw a lot of things changing, including the education industry per se. So we are traditionally academic publishing of school books. But then when pandemic happened, all the learners were at home, the schools were shut down. So that brought about a change and requirement for online learning. And then there were a lot of extra companies who were providing that solution. So we had to respond fast. But then we also realized that pandemic would end someday. So you cannot completely go online or completely be digital. So it has to be a blend of both the worlds, the traditional books, which still is there, and then you of course need those digital assets or the platforms where kids can go and practice or do certain things which they are learning in the book. So over last couple of years, we have realized that the kids or the students or the learners, they cannot spend their entire time on screen or online. They have to go back to the book. They have to go back to the school, have that social circle, talk to their peers, and then probably something which the books earlier had sadness around it. Maybe now they are feeling happy to see some animation, some moving objects, especially the pre-primary kids or the junior kids.
Right. I'll move on to my next question and talk to you about this technology and AI disruption that we're seeing across industry. What is the kind of hype that's there in yours? And while you sit and make budgetary allocations, how much goes to tech and how aggressive are you in this particular segment?
No, of course. So, being finance folks, I've come to realize, and I continuously tell my team that, you need to start spending less time with auditors and spend more time with tech guys and product guys. So you really need to understand the product. And while investing in technology is very exciting, but it has to make economic sense as well. So we really need to see that, the kids are actually using those products or not. They are actually going that, taking that learning system or not. And more than that, I think, the infrastructure has to be ready. We only think about urban cities, but most of the schools are still rural, tier 2, tier 3. The school infrastructure has to be ready for digital and AI and that innovation. So it is happening. It is taking time, especially at the education level. But yes, there is a lot of movement. And of course, the pure online edtech companies, they have seen their share of rise and fall altogether at the same time.
All right, on to my next question. I'll talk to you about your priorities going forward and the challenges that you would earmark, as the CFO.
So again, as I said, there are couple of things. One is my own. I'm going to have to look introspect my own finance team. Moving on to digital, so it's not only working on products. The team also or the finance function, they also need to adopt and start learning AI. They just cannot work in isolation, still working on Excel and things like that. So till they don't understand AI, they will never be able to appreciate the digital product process. I think that would be my first priority looking inwards. Second would also be looking at a lot of data. When a learner goes online, we get to know what kind of things are he liking, what courses he's dropping, what courses are more popular. So these data insights, again, we need to start looking at that as finance community and probably analyze from there and invest accordingly what is working, and not a plain vanilla, okay, we just cannot create all for us. So I think that is the way forward, right?
Okay. And then the challenges.
Oh, challenges, I think, everyone talks about it, like everyone talks about AI, and there's a lot of money flowing in. I think that there's some blind-sided thought to it, that if you put in money, you'll get immediate returns. But and that is what is impacting the traditional publishing, which have been here for hundreds of years. I think there has to be more patience around uh, putting in so much digital onto the kids and the teachers, because they really need to come up the curve to take this on.
So since you've spoken about data and Digital Personal Data Protection Act has come into effect from November, you have some time, 18 months to go about it. What changes for you as you go about the compliance, and where have you started working on it?
So, while we deal with learners, but they are not our primary data source. I mean, we work with distributors and dealers in the market. Having said that, of course, there will be requirements of data privacy. So, our own homegrown IT industry, they are working on a lot of tools. And I think right now they're calling it as consent manager or data manager. And probably most of the companies in India, it would be an outsourced program to these IT companies where they would take care of your DPDP requirements. And the way I've attended a couple of sessions is, it would be a simple tick off the mark, on the screen, and it gets recorded that you're giving a consent. So that is how we are seeing it. But then it's still evolving. I mean, there will be still government regulations around it, and yeah, will kind of formalize it as it goes along.
All right, thank you so much, sir, for sharing all those insights.
My pleasure.
Stay tuned with EDCFO for all the updates coming your way.